Hey y'all, today we're going to take a look at the Asher Racing McLaren Arturo Ultimate. Today we're going to look at a high-end wheel that's going to cost you at least $1,500. Obviously, if you add any peripherals or anything else, it'll cost you more. But before we get to that, I want to thank my buddy RJ for sending this out to me so I can take a look at it and review it. Thank you, my buddy, I really appreciate it. With that being said, this comes with a 4-inch screen with 21 RGB lights. So those are the lights that you can use for your flag indicators, your rev limiter, and all types of flags and notifications on the wheel. Then you have your funky knobs. You get two of them, two 7-way, so they're traditional funky knobs that you get on high-end wheels and you'd expect them on the way. They are all aluminum when it comes to funky knobs and encoders, which is absolutely cool. The wheel is 300 millimeters from end to end, so again, that's a really cool thing, and it makes it quite versatile in what you can actually use. But with that being said, you may want something smaller depending on the type of car you're driving. I think 300 is usually the sweet spot for most cars, but if you're doing Formula racing, I wouldn't recommend it because this wheel is quite large. It does have the McLaren name on it, so again, do be mindful that you're kind of paying for that sticker price as well. But again, this is a high-end wheel that I think most people won't consider. With the wheel, it comes with a USB-C connector on the back, which I think is absolutely excellent. We'll show why that is important here shortly, but that is something that's really cool. When driving the wheel, I'd say all the buttons are well within reach. The LED buttons look really nice. They have this black cover that is over the buttons, and actually I think it looks really cool. It's different than a sticker, so it covers far more of the button so that you get the light just illuminating through the black cover that's on top, and you just see exactly what you want. You get quite a few of them that come in the kit. Obviously, with many things you may not find all that you want, but they do have stickers and things that you can buy for additional features. It does have both shifters, clutches, and additional paddles at the top. Absolutely excellent. I think every wheel at this price point and above should at minimum have the additional shifters, just because it's one of those things you don't know you need it until you have it, and then you can't live without it. It does use SimHub, and absolutely on this wheel we are rocking the Lovely Racing dash, and Lovely Racing actually works with Asher Racing, so again, that's another thing that is really well designed, works really well, and again, it is a 4-inch screen. So for some of you wonder, why would you have a wheel with the screen on it? Well, just look at it. The wheel looks absolutely beautiful. With that being said, everything is well within reach. It's got two front encoders, left and right. Those encoders are really cool because they can be used in a multitude of different ways. One, they can be used as a traditional encoder. Secondly, they can be used as a multi-position switch. Third, they can be used as multi-link. As you know, many wheels are now coming up with a feature allowing you to add more features, more options, more buttons for things you can click on the wheel to give you more functionality. That simply means in the software, as we'll take a look here shortly, while you're in the software, you get the ability to map that encoder to another thumb encoder or button so that you get additional buttons out of that selection. So for example, if I move the encoder to position 1, you get to now click up or down on an encoder of your choice, and now that makes that an additional 24 functions essentially. So each button or each rotary will get additional functions based on the software and based on how you set it up. So again, yet another feature that I think is really important in 2025, as some people don't have button boxes and all the additional things, so every feature you can add to the wheel, especially if you're playing multiple games, maybe you're playing in virtual reality, so it does make things a little bit more complicated, so having more functions makes life a little bit easier. It does have a 6x70mm bolt pattern on the back, so you will likely need a spacer depending on the type of QR that you use. I use NRG, so a spacer is always necessary because I don't want to open up the wheel every single time. So again, that's on me, not on them for doing such a thing. So let's take an actual look at the wheel and go from there. On the wheel, you get two 7-way funky knobs, which is absolutely awesome. You get 1, 2, 3, 4 thumb encoders, and that's really useful with good intent. You get two rotary encoders on the front, which feel really good. You get 14 7 buttons on either side, where the top ones can be reached with your thumb, the other ones cannot. 21 LEDs, as well as again that 4-inch touchscreen, which I do wish was bigger. With that being said, you also get the shifters, which feel really nice. They're dampened, so some people may or may not like them, and the additional paddles at the top, as well as a set of clutches as well. You get your GX connection to your PC, but I'm running pass-through with data and power on my VRS QR, which you can see. Again, the grips feel really nice, and you'll see the spacer that I'm using. Don't mind the wire. I made a little connection myself. Now we're looking at the software. Once you get the software up and go into the settings, here's where you can change a bunch of different things, whether it be the clutches, making it a clutch and bite point, whether you map it to dual clutches or just a single clutch, changing the actual bite point with master and slave, and therefore, a litany of different things. You can change the curve of the clutches. Now, I personally do not use this. I'm not sure why you would, but I'm guessing it makes sense to those that use it. So the fact that you have the option again is absolutely excellent. Here's where you'll start mapping if you want to map things to be multi-position and what button you want things assigned to. And that's for your actual left and right encoder. So you'll go ahead and make those changes there. And then depending on the type that you go with, you'll obviously at the bottom, well, not obviously, but you can change the pulse width. And again, that's just the length of time it takes when you click a button for it to be detected in sim, and depending on the sim will vary. You can go with the button mapping here, where you can change the button mapping on the wheel, and then on the last page, just a litany of different settings that you can see how the wheel operates, different device information, and so forth. Very simple, very easy, and having an app is always a awesome added addition. All right, so let's conclude this. Should you spend the money on this wheel when there's so many out there? Well, I would say yes. Out of the Asher wheels I've had the opportunity to drive and play around with, they've all really felt good, whether it's the F64, whether it's the Mclaren Arturo, or the Arturo Ultimate that you see here today. They all have been really good wheels, and based on my estimation, they've been well put together, they feel good in hand, and they definitely are worth the money that you're going to spend. The feature set on them have gotten better each time, and this is no slouch. It has every feature you're going to want, whether it's 7 push buttons on either side, giving you 14, 2 funky knobs, 2 rotary encoders, 4 thumb encoders that link to knobs that you can make them have additional functions. You get both shifters and clutches and additional paddles that you see here. And again, they feel really good. They're dampened because they have a rubber pad, and they're slightly raised, as you can see here to here. Now it's because there's a little spacer that you can remove, but again, I think it makes it feel really good. The grips are nice and soft, and they're grippy. Now for some people, that may not be a good thing, because some people don't like to see the lint particles or skin cells or whatever they are on there. Personally, I don't care. I just want a set of grips that feel good in hand, and these are good. They're not as thick as I would like them, but they still feel good in hand. And again, I have medium to small hands, so for me, they're pretty fine. If you have very large, extra large hands, and it may be a little bit smaller than you like, but overall I would say they're really good. Again, they're soft, squishy, and grippy, so you won't have a problem driving. On the back of the wheel, as you can see, I have it plugged in via a regular USB-C cable. That is a great feature to add, especially as different manufacturers are going with pass-through QRs, and I use VRS, and having that there made my life 10 times easier to be able to just mod something up really quickly. So again, this is a great thing. There are, a nice big, well, not big, but a nice 4-inch screen you see on the front here. Not massive by any means, definitely on the smaller side at this price point. Usually you see a 4.3-inch screen, which I would definitely have wanted to see on this, but it's still not bad. It's still very visible, and you can read everything, and the text looks fine. So unless you have something very small, you won't really notice an issue. It is a touch screen, so you can put multiple things on it. And as you can see, we have the lovely dash on here, which, well, I think there's no better dash on the market. So that's just me. But with that being said, it's got some really good quality. The buttons have a cap on it that you see here that covers the light behind it. So some people like it, some people don't. To me, it's cool. It's not a sticker, and it's just something different. And again, the buttons feel really nice, and they have a nice click to it. The thumb encoders, They are a little small, so again, they have very sharp edges when you rotate them. So I will say you will notice that a little bit, and not sharp because it's gonna cut you, but just again, when you're rotating it and you're doing it multiple times, you'll definitely feel it on your finger. They have nice detents on it, which is very good because they're nice and stiff. But again, because they're so small, especially these here, you'll notice again, you'll feel it in your fingers when you flick it. The encoders on the front have a really nice click and kind of have like a tactile feel to it. It's very audible, so you will hear it when you switch it, but it has a nice tactile feel on it as well. Like I said, this wheel is going to cost you about $1,500. And again, it does have its logo on top, which you can spend a little more and get your own logo up there, but it's completely aluminum. It's a pretty lightweight wheel, and again, feels good in hand. I think the clutches also could be better on here. To me, there's no real resistance here, so they're kind of light. And if you're trying to modulate things, like maybe use them as a throttle and brake, well, it's going to be almost impossible to modulate the brake part. The throttle wouldn't be too hard. Using them as clutches, again, there's no resistance. I almost feel like the spring should be significantly stronger because I can literally just flick it and it kind of bounces back. So again, not ideal for me, but again, definitely nothing bad. Would I buy it? Absolutely. Thank my buddy RJ for sending this to me. I think it's a really great wheel that again, I could easily recommend, but again, there's so many wheels at this price point or cheaper that have screens, that have thumb encoders, that have a lot of features. So you have to ask yourself, what are you paying for? You're paying for the great quality, you're paying for the Asher name, you're also paying for it to say McLaren on the front. So if you drive a Porsche car, a Ferrari, or anything else, maybe you don't want it to say McLaren, but you are paying for that name to be on there. So with that being said, I hope you like this video. Thanks for tuning in. As always, like, follow, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends about me. Make sure you tune into more videos that are coming. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you join my Discord. I've got some cool things planned for the future. And if you have any questions, hit me up. All right, talk to you later. Peace.